The topic for this lesson is Subject-Verb Agreement. We will start with the basic principle of Subject-Verb Agreement. Then we will have a look at the 10 guidelines. Finally, we will have a practice and quiz session before we review our lesson. The very first principle is that the subject and the verb should be in the same form, no matter in singular or plural form. Now, let's look at the first guideline. Do not let words between the subject and the verb affect agreement. Sometimes we have modifiers between the subject and the verb. We should not be distracted by the modifier. For example, the various types of drama were not discussed. The subject is actually types, so we don't want the modifier drama affect the verb were. Also, certain prepositions can cause trouble. You will see it in the example. Here, the subject is only the coach. Along with the players is only a prepositional phrase that modifies coach. So, the verb should be in the same form of coach, that is, singular form. In compound subjects, in which one subject is positive and the other one is negative, the verb agrees with the positive subject. For example, we have a positive subject, Philip, and a negative subject, not the other boys, here. Remember, the verb should agree with the positive one, Philip. The second guideline is, do not let inversions affect agreement of subject and verb. By inversions, we mean verbs before subject. Verbs and other words may come before the subject. Do not let them affect the agreement. To understand subject-verb relationships, for example, we recast the question, are John and his sister at home? In a normal word order. John and his sister are at home, so that we can figure out the relationship between the subject and the verb, and we can choose the correct form of verb. There is another opportunity that we need to write inversions. When we have sentence fillers in a sentence, we might put the verb in front of the subject. A sentence filler is a word that is grammatically independent of other words in the sentence. Do not view it as a subject. The most common filler are there and here. In the example, there is a pencil on my desk. The verb agrees with the subject. Guideline 3. A singular verb agrees with a singular indefinite pronoun. Most indefinite pronouns are singular as the examples shown below. Certain indefinite pronouns do not clearly express either a singular or plural number. Agreement depends on the meaning of the sentence. For example, when we are describing all of the fruit as a whole, it must be viewed as singular. When we are referring to the pronoun to different kinds of fruit, we'll use fruits in a plural form. When we use and to join several subjects, they are definitely plural. If the parts of a compound subject mean one and the same person or thing, the verb is singular. If it means more than one, the verb is plural. For example, when we view the secretary and treasurer as one person, it must be singular. When we view the secretary and the treasurer independently, we are talking about two persons. when each or every modifying singular subject joined by and, the verb is singular. Guideline 5. Watch the alternative subjects. If the subjects are both singular, the verb is singular. For example, Rosa and Alicia is responsible, or is linking two singular subjects, so the verb should be singular. If the subjects are plural, the verb is plural. Here we can see from the example, students and teachers are both plural, so the verb were should also be plural. So what can we do if a singular and a plural subject are going in one sentence? Here, let the verb agree with the nearest one. For example, the verb in the two examples is like. In the first sentence, the nearest subject is friends, so the verb is in plural form. In the second sentence, the nearest subject is Tom, so the verb is in singular form. Guideline 6. We decide the verb formed by what the collective noun refers to. Collective noun referring to a unit use a singular verb. The crew is leaving now means the crew is viewed as one group, so we use singular verb. Now you know when we refer crew to every single member in it, we are counting them as individuals and the verb should be in plural form. Some nouns like book, essay, business titles should take a singular verb. So if there's a company named after brothers, the verb for it is still in singular form. Guideline 8 is still dealing with numbers. If we are talking about a sum, then it should be viewed as 1, so the verb is singular. If we are talking about individual elements separately, then we use plural verbs. Some nouns end up in s should be paired with a singular verb. For example, humps is an unpleasant disease. Guideline 10. Some nouns have only plural forms, so take only a plural verb. For example, clothes, fireworks, scissors, pens, glasses. Okay, let's have a practice. Let's find the correct verb. Number 1, we cannot be distracted by the word between the subject and the verb. So the verb for price is singular is. Number 2, try to recast the sentence and we can get the verb for many reasons. So the answer is are. Number 3, we are talking about the melon as one package. So the answer is was. Number 4, remember to find the nearest subject, which is you. So the verb is have. Number 5, we see a word each, so that we know the verb should be singular. Number 6, we have or linking two singular subjects, so the verb is also singular. Number 7, we are talking about the police as a whole unit, so the verb is singular. Number 8, we have a title of a book. No problem, it's singular. Number 9, we are also talking the numbers as the whole, so the verb is singular. Finally, number 10, although the noun ends with s, it is still only one single subject. The verb is definitely singular. Okay, are you ready for the quiz? Let's go. In compound subjects, one is positive and the other one is negative. Which does the verb agree with? Yes, the answer is the positive one. If one of the subjects is singular and the other subject is plural, Which does the verb agree with? Remember, it's the nearest one. Let's review today's lesson, Subject Verb Agreement. To help you get the correct subject verb agreement, we have 10 guidelines for your reference. First, do not let words between the subject and the verb affect agreement. Second, do not let inversions, verbs before subject, affect agreement of subject and verb. Third, a singular verb agrees with a singular indefinite pronoun. Fourth, two or more subjects joined by and usually take a plural verb. Fifth, alternative subjects, that is, subjects joined by or, nor, either or, neither nor, not only but also, should be handled carefully. Sixth, collective pronouns take a singular verb if the group is considered a unit, but collective pronouns take a plural verb if the group is considered as many individuals. Seventh, titles of books, essays, short stories, and plays, a word spoken of as a word, and the names of business take a singular verb. Eighth, sums of money, distance, and measurements are followed by a singular verb when a unit is meant. They are followed by a plural verb when the individual elements are considered separately. Ninth, be careful of agreement with nouns ending in s. Several nouns ending in s take a singular verb. 10th, some nouns have only plural forms and so take only a plural verb. This is the end of today's lesson. Great job! Thanks for joining us. This online course is funded by the Ministry of Education.